أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين. قال الله في كتابه الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنما وليكم الله ورسوله والذين آمنوا الذين يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتوا الزكاة وهم راكعون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Illuminate your hearts and your minds with a loud salawat ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. After the passing of the Prophet the Imam Ali alayhi life was nothing more than tragedies and struggles one after the other. Even after his passing, there was nothing but oppression that was done to him. Now, we already went over the struggles and the different hardships that went on in Imam Ali alayhi life. And as well as the struggles, we also went and talked about a certain sermon that was recorded from the Imam Ali alayhi which in this sermon he depicts and he starts describing the different hardships that happened to him after the passing of the Prophet. In this khutbah, the name of the khutbah is the sermon or the khutbah of Shiqshiqiyya. The naming of this khutbah was because at the end of this khutbah, the Imam Ali alayhi said, "Tilka shikshiqatun hadarat thumma qarrat." The Imam Ali alayhi says that this khutbah was a shikshiqa that was announced, that was produced, a hadir that was produced. In the Arabic language, shikshiqa is the term used for a balloon-like organ that resides in the throat of a camel. So the Imam Ali alayhi used this terminology to similarize the hardships and the things that he was going through as the shikshiqa that was residing in his throat, the things that he was being patient with. And as a result of him saying this khutbah, he said hadarat. This exact phrase hadarat or hadir is the sound that is produced from the camel when the shikshiqa or the balloon-like organ is hanging out of the camel's mouth. Hadir, hadarat. The Imam Ali alayhi salam, with this khutbah, he similarized the hardships that he was going through as the shikshiqa and the sound or the khutbah that was produced, and he said as the hadir. Please recite Allah salawat ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. He begins the khutbah with saying, Ama wallah laqad taqammasaha ibn Abi Quhafa. Or in some other copies, لَقَدْ تَقَمَّصَهَا فُلَانٌ. In this part, the Imam Ali starts saying how Fulan or Ibn Abi Quhafa, which is used to refer to Abu Bakr, took the khilafat and wore it. The Imam Ali specifically used the term war to show that this khilafat was something that was unfitting for Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr was not worthy of such a leadership. In the continuation, he says, وَإِنَّهُ لِيَعْلَمُ أَنَّ مَحَلِّ مِنْهَا مَحَلُّ الْقُطْبِ مِنَ الرَّحَى. In the continuation, the Imam Ali then says, even though Abu Bakr wore this, even though it was unbefitting of him, he still wore it. Though he knew that my status and my position with the people and the believers is that of the pole that holds together a stone mill. A stone mill. A device used in the past to produce or to make wheat, to make flour from wheat. The Imam Ali alayhi salam over here in this part similarized his position as the pole that holds together the stone mill that wheat is made with. Now, in the continuation after this, the Imam Ali alayhi salam says, يَنْحَدْرُ عَنِّ السَّيْلِ وَلَا يَرْقَى إِلَيَّ الطَّيْرِ. Imam Ali alayhi salam, as we know, is the true and rightful leader of all the Muslims after the Prophet ﷺ. And when Abu Bakr took it, the Imam Ali ﷺ here starts complaining and talking about how Abu Bakr took the rightful leadership that belonged to him. We went over this last night that the Imam Ali ﷺ would not complain over such a tiny thing like khilafat. But the reason that he was so frustrated was because the leadership of the Muslims was in the wrong hands. If Abu Bakr were to be the leader, then all of the Muslims and the believers would be led astray. So the Imam Ali in the continuation says, وَإِنَّهُ He said, وَيَنْحَدُرُ عَنِّ الصَّيْدِ وَلَا يَرْقَى إِلَيَّ الطَّيْرُ. He says that it flows from me a river so vast and with such high level that a bird would not even be able to fly or reach the top. What does this mean? The Imam Ali alayhi salam here is referring to his knowledge, to his ilm. What does the Prophet say about the Madinatul Ilm? Ana Madinatul Ilm wa Aliyun babaha. I am the city of knowledge, and Ali is the gate of the city of knowledge. Imam Ali alayhi salam here is talking about his knowledge and the status he has as the gate of knowledge. He says that he is like a vast river, a vast body of a ginormous body of water, so big that no bird, here is referring to any person, would even hope of trying to reach the top. All of us, all of the knowledge that we have is like a small drop of water compared to this vast ocean. The Imam Ali alayhi salam, he starts talking about the hardships and how the rightful leadership was given to the wrong person. And so the Imam Ali alayhi salam, after a while, he found out and understood that whatever he would try to do, he wouldn't be able to take the khilafat back. So in the continuation says, فَسَدَلْتُ دُونَهَا ثَوْبًا وَطَوَيْتُ عَنْهَا كَشْهَا. Then the Imam Ali alayhi salam decided to let his hand go and leave khilafat alone. The Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he left khilafat alone, when he left the leadership alone, he started planning and thinking. He says, وَطَفِقْتُ أَرْتَئِي بَيْنَ أَنْ أَصُولَ بِيَدٍ جَزَّةٍ أَوْ أَصْبِرَ عَلَى طَخْيَةٍ عَمْيَةٍ. And I started thinking of whether I should fight an uprising and lead a rebellion with a cut hand, or to continue going through this dark and blinding darkness. What does this mean? The Imam Ali alayhi salam, before the Prophet's passing, was given a will. He was given an order. The Prophet ﷺ told him that, "O Ali, do not lead a rebellion and do not lead an uprising unless you have at least 10 companions." The Imam Ali ﷺ then thought about this. He said that, should I uprise against this evil leadership, or should I wait? Imam Ali ﷺ, one day, while many of the people gathered around him, they told him, "Oh Ali, lead an uprising, lead a rebellion against this evil and this oppression." So the Imam Ali ﷺ, he told them, "Come in the morning with your heads shaved, and if I see that you are enough, then we will lead an uprising." But there were only 4 people that made it every single 3 times that the Imam Ali ﷺ ordered them to do it. Salman, Miqdad, Abu Zar, and Zubayr. No one else, only these 4 people. And so the Imam Ali ﷺ remembered that the Prophet told him to lead an uprising or stand up to dhulm only if you had at least 10 companions. The Imam Ali ﷺ, so then he ticked this off. He understood that he really couldn't lead an uprising because he didn't have enough companions. Bayadin jadda. He was with a shortened hand. There was another option. أو أصبر على طخية عمياء. Or to wait and have patience through this blinding darkness, a darkness that nothing can be seen. And he depicts this darkness as something that يحرم فيها الكبير ويشيب فيها الصغير ويكده فيها مؤمن حتى يلقى ربه. He says that this darkness is so cruel and so blinding that even those who are elderly aged, that have knowledge, that have experience, aren't able to find their direction in this darkness. So they are rendered useless and disabled in being able to do anything during this darkness. وَيَشِيبُ فِيهَا الصَّغِيرُ. Young people with youth, they have energy. And some of them might think that I have an energy, I'm young, so I can just barge in through any of my problems and solve them right away. But this darkness is so blinding that even with infinite amount of energy, you won't be able to find the right way. So you're rendered as useless as a frail old man. وَيَشِيبُ فِيهَا الصَّغِيرُ وَيَكْتَحُ فِيهَا مُؤْمِنٌ حَتَّى يَلْقَى رَبَّهُ. This darkness, this evil, is so cruel and so corrupt that every single believer, if they were trying to pass and live through this darkness, they would have such hardships and they would go through such hardships until the day of their passing, until the day yalqa rabbah, until the day that they meet their creator. The Imam Ali alayhi salam, in this part, he's depicting the darkness that he would have to have patience through if he couldn't lead an uprising against evil. Such a darkness that even those who have lots of experience lose their way in this darkness. Even the youth who have energy, who have strength, are unable to do anything here, rendered as useless as an old man. That the believers, if they were trying to live and keep their faith with themselves and keep believing in the right path, they would have nothing but struggles every single day until the day that they met their Creator, until the day of their passing. This is the Imam Ali alayhi salam sermon up to here. We can see that the Imam Ali alayhi salam in this sermon, from the beginning up till now, he had nothing except for concerns for the believers. He had no worries except for his concern about the believers. He would not complain about khilafat. There was no use for him. He had such a high position that his relationship with the Prophet was as the relationship of Prophet Musa and Harun alayhim as-salam. The Prophet says to Imam Ali, Anta minni bimanzilati Harun. Please recite Allah sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. So the Imam Ali alayhi salam would not complain over such a puny thing, such an insignificant thing. But the only reason he was talking about this, the only reason this sermon was said, and the only reason he was so frustrated was because he saw that the believers or the Muslims would be led astray, would be led to the wrong path if the leadership was given to the wrong person. In the continuation, he starts thinking and he starts saying that whether he should stand up and make an uprising or whether he should wait during these hard times. And the Imam Ali alayhi salam would think between these two because he didn't want to see the Muslims or the believers staying in this darkness, in this volumat, in such a way that there's hardships wherever they go for them just to maintain and keep their belief until the day they pass away. He even thought of trying to lead an uprising, but there was not enough any companions. The Prophet ﷺ even told him that, "Oh Ali, do not lead an uprising unless you have at least 10 companions." The only people that were there were 4 people: Miqdad, Salman, Abu Zar, Zubayr. The Imam Ali alayhi salam, then he was thinking of what to do. He was thinking of waiting and having patience during this dark and blinding darkness in such a way that, as he said, no matter how much experience one might have in this type of situation, they're rendered useless and unable. Those youth, the people who are young, no matter how much energy they may have, they are not able to do anything in this darkness, and they are as useless as an elderly aged man. That the believers, no matter how hard they try to keep their faith, there is nothing but hardships until the day of their passing. Imam Ali alayhi salam, we can see how he was so worried about the believers, how he was so worried about the Muslims. He had nothing wrong nor nothing less that he couldn't do, but he still went through all of these hardships, and he waited in such a way that he similarizes it to bones in the throat and a thorn in the eye. Whatever you do, you can't separate it, but he similarizes to this, and he went through all of this frustration just for the believers and no one else. He did it all because that this religion, that this deen that we have today that's in our hands will reach us and that it prospers in today's time. There is a continuation of the sermon, the khutbah of Shaykh Shaqiyya, which we will be going over in the future nights. I thank you for giving me your time. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina